All right. So the second thing is um, helping players to understand how to play defense. It's very important to be able to help a player understand how to play defense. Now, when I say these things, it's not oh, there's a problem because this coach is not doing it. No, it's just this is something that I picked up on that I don't know if a lot of coaches, I'm talking about on like middle school, city league, high school, by college, it shouldn't. It's not a thing. But in those lower levels, a lot of times these coaches don't have the time. Sometimes it's condensed. Hey, we got to be able to do this. If you can't do this, I'm going to get somebody who knows what they're doing, right? And I can appreciate that. But there are players that are playing defense, and they might actually be good at defense, but they're just going on kind of instinct, maybe talent. They're not going a lot on IQ when it comes to understanding defense. So let me give you an example. If I'm in a defensive um, alignment where I'm playing the wing, let's say I'm going to be playing the top left wing on the left side. It's my left side, which is the offensive right side. So it's on my left. If I'm up there playing and our goal is to force everything baseline, not middle, because they're two basic principles, right? It can get complicated, but they're two basic principles of defense. You're either forcing everything into the middle with help, or you're forcing everything to the sides, right? As you get more complicated, you can kind of have a little bit of both, right? When you're at the top, you force them this way or that way. Maybe if you're on the wing, you force them middle. Maybe if you're lower wing, you force them baseline. Who knows? But it can be a little bit more intricate. But the two basic ones are middle and force them to the side. Okay, so I'm gonna paint a scenario where the player that I'm guarding, they can shoot, right? They got nice shot. They can handle the ball, but they're not really an attack the rim type player. So if I'm helping my top defender, say my top defender gets beat, I come in and help keep the drive from keep the offensive player from getting to the basket. They kick it out to the top. Now, I have to get there because now I'm in recovery, right? But let's say I just run out blindly to try to contest the shot and keep them from shooting. I'm probably going to be in a bad position because if I rush out blindly and it's a poor closeout or too aggressive of a closeout, now that player is going to have options, right? They can drive and, ball fake, still shoot, one or two dribbles, shoot, suck the defense in. Maybe they kick it out. Maybe they, fake, get an easy layup, right? So I'm really good at defense. I helped, I got there. But I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a basic understanding of what I need to take away, how I need to take it away, and how I need to force this player to do what I want them to do, even when they think they've won. So here's what I'm trying to instill in players. You have to have a plan. Number one, if you know that person is a shooter and maybe not handle the ball, you do need to get out to try to keep that person from going up, right? There are going to be things that an offensive player can do to get their shot off if they're really good. But for the most part, you're going to give yourself a chance. But here's the most important part. Once you get there, if your coach's philosophy is we bring everything middle, then your closeout should be on that player's right side, almost high right side. Because now when they drive, you're on there and let's say you get out there to keep them from shooting, but now your next part B or part two is I'm going to force you middle, right? Or I'm going to force you sideline, depending on how your defensive strategy is with where you want them to go. If you're forcing them sideline or baseline, Then when you close out on their left side high. Okay? You take away the ability to drive that way. Now they're only coming this way to help, right? Let's put it in reverse. Let's say this person can't shoot, but they drive. It's pretty much the same. You still kind of close out. Maybe you don't close out hard on the shot because you want them to shoot, but you still close out to the side that you need to, whether it's the high right or the high left, to force them to go middle or baseline. Okay? A lot of players don't think about that. They don't think, well, I know I'm just supposed to help and run out to my offensive player. And what I've done is I've done drills where the ball comes to me and I tell them, if you don't close out properly, I'm shooting. And they close out and shots up, right? Because they're not understanding what they should do. They understand they should get there, but it's the what should I do? And that's the part I'm trying to address with just I call it giving them a plan. Now, if their team is very detailed with instruction with how they play defense, we're going to do A, B, and C, right? And then D, if it happens, they know. But I tend to get players, they know that they're supposed to get out, or contest or force the drive. Some will say, hey, yeah, you got to make them go this way, right? But oftentimes you'll see players not really, they're a little bit confused sometimes with how they get it. So if you give them a plan and say, just do this. Now, one question that comes up is, well, what if they can shoot and drive? Okay, excellent question. You still follow a plan. You still have to say, hey, you have to say to yourself, if they're a better shooter than driver, take the shot away first, then force them to drive. Because if you do your job, it shouldn't matter. What happens is when it matters is when this person has elite ball handling, where they can give you a fake, they start to drive middle, which is where you push them, but then they counter and come back the other way, all right? So what we have to understand is you have to do what I call the elbow theory, which is you keep the offensive player in between your elbows, okay? If I keep them in between my elbows, they're going to be right here. So I can take away a few things. I'm going to give up some things, but those are things I'm okay with giving up. But if the ball player is in front of my elbow, they can cut me off and get to the rim. I was too slow. If I move and react too quickly and the player's driving and the player's outside of this elbow, now they can counter and attack this way. And if my footwork is off and I wasn't expecting it, I'm going to get beat. Okay? But if I keep them in the middle, it's hard for them to counter and get into me. Now it's just about they're trying to bump. Maybe they try to do a step back. Maybe they just drive hard. If they're athletic, they finish with their left, so on and so forth, right? So at that point, it's just going to be about how good they are offensively versus what I'm giving them. And sometimes they're going to be better, right? Shake your hand. Good job. Try to learn from it. Figure out a way to start to take that away. But that's where I think the science, I hate science because it sounds like I'm like you're computing. That's why I think the learning can really jump for players defensively, because defense is about effort, will and want, right? You got to have those things. But if you don't know what to do and you're just running around there crazy without a set plan, when you play against an elite offensive player, it's not going to go well, right? And you could be perfectly in all of these things and that offensive player still scores. That's going to happen, right? All you have to do is just try to be there at the end and maybe, hey, you know what? I know what they're trying to do. Let me try to take that away. And now force that offensive player to do something else. The elite ones will be able to counter no matter what you do, and that's fine. If you make an offensive player go into their bag, as they say, and they have to hit you with 3 or more counter moves, you are really making that offensive player work. And that offensive player is just really good offensively, okay? And that happens. But to have a plan and an understanding with what you need to do defensively, my experience with all the players that I've trained, when I've done this type of work, they have become from if they were average defenders, they become really good defenders. If they were good defenders, they become excellent defenders, right? So it is a jump in their IQ and understanding that they do say, like, you know what? It helped me because I was closing out and I wasn't sure what to do. I was so like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna take the shot away, but I didn't understand what to do in that instance and I was getting beat. Now, if I take the shot away, if I'm good enough to take the shot away, I got to get them, I'm pushing them this way, as opposed to just going straight and they pump fake and I run past them and they still get the three. Okay, so helping players understand how to play defense is just as crucial as teaching them how to play offense. Okay, defense is a mindset, and again, it is something that you want to know how to do, because as you climb the ladder, you're not going to be in elementary forever, middle school forever, high school forever. As you climb that ladder, if you cannot defend, you're not on the floor. That's simple. You can't defend, you're not going to be on the floor for really good coaches, because you're going to hurt the team. And that's what happens. So I hope that helped. I hope the visual helped. I'll try to figure out a way to get some stuff up there to let you kind of see what I'm talking about. But we're gonna leave it today at that. Gonna be a little short episode. I worked hard to get here for the day. So even though his butt isn't here, I'm still trucking on, right? So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed the information. College football is back. We'll talk about it. There were some things I was going to talk about today, but I figure, you know what? I know he's going to have some real big input. We might even cover a couple of these things again just to see if he had questions. But for the most part, we're going to keep moving. So I hope everybody's doing well, enjoying the weather, fall. I'm glad you are subscribing and liking and commenting on what we're doing. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep trucking on. For my 5 people who watch, no, it's a little bit more than that. I'm not viral, but I have more than 5 people who actually view and watch. So I feel like I'm doing it for them. All right. If other people come on, then that's great. Hopefully this is information, because I don't think that there's a podcast. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's a podcast from my perspective, my type of perspective, and how I'm doing it. So hopefully this helps a kid or two that you know. Tag them, like, subscribe, comment, follow.